All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Wednesday morning Inner Circle Live session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. We'll be joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Hope everybody is doing well today. We're going to dive in. We got some data coming out today. Want to make sure that we're prepared for that. Just an update on some of the things happening around the world as well. So as always, let's turn off all distractions, prepare your minds and your bodies to engage as you guys always do. And for the courtesy of everybody on the call, please ensure that your mic is muted if you're not actively asking a question or making a comment. All right. So let's get to it. We had UK CPI come out this morning. UK inflation hits 11.1%. Annual inflation rate in the UK jumped 11.1% in October from 10.1 in September, much above forecast of 10.7, right? Highest inflation rate since October 1981, with the main upward pressure coming from gas and electricity prices. Despite the introduction of the energy price guarantee cap, compared to September, CPI jumped 2%, right? So inflation continues to rise in the UK, right? So that's something we definitely want to take a look at with the pound pairs, okay? Other things that are happening, you got oil stabilized, right? Choppy session due to demand fears with China and another COVID outbreak. Then you have the dollar. Dollar remained, a dollar weakened further against the basket of currencies on Wednesday, hovering around 106 as investors continue to bet the Fed will slow its aggressive tightening campaign, with softer than expected PPI reading reinforcing such view. Fed policy makers, including Bernard and Waller, acknowledge that the central bank might slow the rate hike, saying that it has already done a significant job taming inflation. Still, there's yet to be a consensus among Fed members. Right? Atlanta Fed Reserve President Bostic warned that he sees little evidence that inflation is easing, while signaling that interest rates will have to rise further for the central bank to reach its goal. Meanwhile, fears of a broader European conflict after a missile hit Polish territory and killed 2 civilians sparked some safe haven demand and limited the dollar's downside. So yesterday, there was a missile that landed over in Poland. Poland immediately stated that it was a Russian missile, and so did the Ukraine. And Russia said they didn't fire such missile. United States, even in this scenario, preliminarily backed Russia, said it's not likely that it was a Russian missile. So there's a verbal battle that's happening, and a narrative battle that's happening with the intent to intensify the scenario over in Russia. So there could be some safe haven movement over the next couple of days as this situation continues to flush out. And they investigate to see whose missile it was. There's some meetings happening over in Indonesia, G20, and this is one of the things that they had an emergency meeting yesterday about, and they're meeting today about as well to investigate. So that's going to be something that I want us to keep our eyes on, as the Russia-Ukraine situation. They're also, during this G20 meeting, planning to announce or denounce this war in Russia, urging Russia to end the war immediately. And in ending the war immediately, they can't do anything, but they ultimately want to say all of the major nations around the world agree that this is not a good thing, including some of Russia's allies of China and India, to force Russia's hand Russia's at said meeting as well. And Russia obviously is giving their side of the story. So that will also could potentially have some interesting developments as well in how the world communicates or paints the picture of the Russia-Ukraine war in more of a narrative battle at this point. What could happen if the investigation finds that Russia did it? That would escalate things quite a bit. So basically it would say, because 2 people died in this missile that hit in Poland. And so basically the narrative would turn to, not only is Russia attacking Ukraine, but now Russia has also attacked a neighboring country, right? These countries already have kind of moved against Russia, or, staked their claim regarding where they stand. So then that would bring in NATO to defend the allies of Ukraine and Poland. And that would bring other countries into the war against Russia, and that would escalate things quite a bit. The United States would likely have more of a hand in that, because since the beginning they said as long as it doesn't go outside of Ukraine, we won't step in. But if it goes outside of Ukraine, then we will step in. So that will escalate things dramatically if it is found to be a Russian missile. So, and then from a market perspective, if that escalates, we could see a lot of safe haven movement, similar to what we did when this thing started. Outside of Russia, they're saying it could have been Ukraine attempting to fire a missile at a Russian missile that was fired at a location inside of the Ukrainian border. So there's a few things that are happening around the world. So we'll keep our eyes peeled. Yeah, it backfired for sure. So just keep your eyes peeled on that, and watch the safe havens as we move throughout the rest of the week. All right. Today, they said we had the CPI data come in out of the UK. We see came in extremely hot, right? Above expectation. Later on today, we have CPI for the Canadian dollar, right? We'll see how that comes out. There'll definitely be an impact there. We'll take a look at the Canadian pairs. And then we have core retail sales. This is the other spot that investors are keeping their eyes on to either continue to solidify the point of the Fed reversal, or potentially to at least slow that narrative down a little bit if that number comes in high. So investors are watching this 8:30 hour. Okay. Then there's going to be some hearings coming out of the UK at 9:15 regarding inflation. So that'll be something else to pay attention to as well. And then tonight we have employment and unemployment rate for the Australian dollar, which could impact the Aussie. I got any questions from a fundamental perspective? No? All right. Cool deal. So let's hop over to the chart. So I want to take a look at the dollar. Then we'll look at Canadian crosses, and we'll take a look at these pounds as well to see how they responded to that CPI data. All right. So come here. Dollar index, right? We're sitting around the 618 retracement level, which is in line with this daily support, right? This is a level that we said we wanted price to get to, and there is a potential for it to go deeper. Yes, right. This is on the 4-hour time frame. Definitely potential for it to go deeper, but this is the area that we were looking for price to get to. If we bounce back to the daily time frame real quick, we'll see, right? 80-20 scenario played out beautifully. Shallow retracement, 118, 127. And then we push down to that 382. So now here, this is a key level, previous resistance, right? Support. Now we want to see if this level holds, or if we break this and continue pushing down to the 618 level and this weekly support level. Okay. The CPI data today it will ultimately kind of determine that, right? That CPI, I mean, not the CPI, but the retail sales for the United States. If that data comes in above expectation, we could see a bounce off of this and a push higher, right? If that data comes in below expectation or even at expectation, we could see this continue pressing to the downside, right? So we'll watch that to see if we get a bounce here, okay? But that's where we sit, just hovering right there at that daily support level, okay? The dollar will come. Benny broke this down last night. I'll sit here because we do have a setup here on this dollar yen. So real quick, dollar yen. You also had 80-20 scenario, shallow retracement, 118, 127, and price pushed down, right? Came into this 50% retracement level, and now we're getting that consolidation similar to what we had on the DXY, right? Similar look. So here as well, we're having just below the support level, right? Serving as resistance currently, but we could potentially see at least a retracement come out of this, if not a full reversal, but at least a retracement if the dollar pushes to the upside, okay? We get down to the 4, and we had that 4-hour fib taken out to the downside, right? So we'll flip this around, and we'll run our fib from the top to the bottom. So in here, right, we talk about those 80-20s, right? Benny broke this down last night. Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone, and we're just pushing sideways, right? So we want to wait for trend line break, right, and a push above to confirm that we're moving back to the upside, at least in a retracement, okay? 618 level, 50% level comes in line with this daily, was support, right? Was support, now could be resistance, okay? So this is an opportunity here from a 4-hour time frame perspective on an 80-20 scenario, okay? As we get down to the 1-hour time frame, you get more of the same, right? So we got some confluence coming in on the time frames that we could be in for a retracement back to the upside, okay? So we'll look for this. Again, we want, you can run your trend lines to the downside. So okay, like so, right? Price is just moving sideways. This was your lowest point, but price stayed in this range. You got to break above, but we're still hovering sideways within this range. So we'll shift that to the outermost point like so. Okay. So we want to see a nice break above and get out of this range, right? Above this daily level to give us insight that not insight, but confirmation that price is pushing to the upside here. Okay. So be patient here, allow this one to continue to develop. But this is an 80-20 scenario on the 1-hour time frame and the 4-hour time frame. So you got a longer term swing play coming in there. Okay. Now on your, actually, we're just going to stay here on the 1 hour on this UJ. Okay. So keep your eyes peeled on the UJ there. Okay. Any questions on that? Back office mentioned that you should try to put at least 2 hours in minimum a week to learn how to trade. What would be the max? I mean, do you think there's a downside? I don't think there's a downside to studying more. I don't know if that will ever be a thing in anything that you decide to do. The more you do it, the better you become. So I don't know if there's a maximum amount of time. When you look at people that are in the elite performer status, they were obsessed with what they did, and they did it around the clock, and that's how they became who they are. Kobe Bryant's, the Mark Minervinis, right? They became obsessed with the process of development, and they became obsessed with the process of becoming great, right? And that was their goal. So they were willing to put in as much time as was necessary to achieve that goal. So and not just in trading, but in anything that you decide to do in life. I don't ever see putting too much time in as being a negative thing. Now, if it starts to deteriorate the rest of your life, right, family, other things that are important to you, then you want to take a look at balance, right? But as far as skill development, if anybody tells you you're putting too much time into learning a skill that you desire to learn, you might want to question their motives, right? So that's my opinion on skill set development. Miss Cassandra, what's happening?
Hi. I missed last night's session, so I just have a quick question on the daily resistance, the 140.445. Is that, I don't see that on the daily. I just want to make sure I'm following you on where I have a 140.312.
It was a support here before price broke that level.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's where it comes from for me. I decided to leave that on my chart.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. But if you're running the smart support and trend lines, obviously it got broken, so it's not there.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? No. All right, cool deal. So let's take a look at the dollar CAD. Clean this up a little bit. Daily time frame, right? You're sitting at a 50% retracement, right? 786 level is down here. Okay, daily support. So there's room for this to continue to press to the downside. So I'm looking for this to potentially continue moving down. We could see a pullback and a retest of this support level that it broke, right? As well as resistance here, right? On the lower time frame served as support, and then we broke it. We could come back and retest that and then continue down, right? But I am looking for, personally, I'll say that. Personally, I'd like for price to get down to this daily support level, right? Give us a nice low price in our sweet spot on the daily time frame, and then give us a bounce. Now, the other thing to be cognizant of here is that this is a previous resistance level, right? It was broken here. That was daily resistance in the zone, right? So it came back and it's retesting that level now. Okay, so it already broke it. It's coming back to retest. So we'll see if this level holds and bounces, right? The CPI data again is going to be important coming out of Canada, but also the retail sales combined with that, it could get you right a pretty impulsive move. Okay, so either this level will hold and serve as a level of support, and we'll get a push and a swing low to form, or we'll continue to break down and continue pushing to the downside, right? So keep that in mind as we move through the day, as well as we're watching this one play out. Get down to the 4. And let's see here. Now, here as well. All right, and those fibs on the 4 got taken out to the downside, right? So now we'll flip our fib and run them from the top to the bottom, like so. We got a fresh AB boundary here. Okay, fresh AB boundary. So we could see, right, those two scenarios that we just talked about from the daily time frame, right? Could see shallow retracement, push down into the 118, 127 zone, potentially getting a little bit deeper and getting to that daily support, right? Not getting to the D extension, and then turning over and pushing back to the upside. So again, watching this to see. Now, this could also just bounce off the B boundary and continue pressing to the upside, right? That's definitely an option, definitely potential there. So we'll watch after the data comes out. We'll see how price responds. I'd love for price to get down into this 118, 127 zone and start to give us some consolidation, right? That's what I'm looking for this pair. throughout the rest of the week. So that's the 4-hour time frame there. We'll drop to the 1. We'll run our fib from the high again. Similar look, right? Similar look. Okay. Now this D extension on the 1 hour is a little higher. So on the 1 hour, potential for that to get hit, right? But that same action, right? Shallow retracement, 118 and 127 zone. And then we'll see if we get price to round out down in this area. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for here on the dollar CAD, all depending on how the news comes out and what and how investors take the news. Okay. And what that response will be. So that is the dollar CAD. That's what I'm looking for. There. Any questions on the dollar CAD? Nope. All right, cool deal. Let's take a look at the NZD CAD. All right, here on your 5, before I even get to the daily time frame, shallow retracement at 118, 127. Okay, so you got an 80-20 scenario on the 5-minute time frame to keep your eyes on. All right, we'll adjust these trend lines to get them. When I move back, I'll adjust them. But off rip, 80-20 scenario on the 5-minute time frame. Okay, so here's an opportunity right now to look for that move to the downside. Right, if euros are met in this, no, if euros are met here, right? Stop above your highest 20 pips. If you place it above this high is 32, right? 50. So you got a 1.5 to 1, right? If it gets down to the 618 level, you got your 2 to 1. Okay. So that's an opportunity for us there on the 5-minute time frame for the intraday traders that might be looking for an opportunity. There you go there. Okay. It's pushing sideways right now, but if you get a break, there's an opportunity. Okay. Let's bounce back to the daily and get a full view now. Okay, daily time frame. We did just miss this 382 here, right? And then we pressed to the downside and we got this reversal. Okay, we broke through previous daily resistance levels, right? Strong move to the upside, right? So what we can do here, we'll adjust this down. That's a daily support. We'll take that out. This was resistance here. Okay. So I'm going to leave this level in, right, to see if we're able to get price to come back and retest. Okay. So I'm going to leave that level in, look for it to potentially serve as support. Okay. So we'll watch and see how it develops and see if that occurs. Okay. At some point, it could push up and then come down, right? But we also have our trend line also running here. Just that there. Right. So that's our daily trend line moving to the upside. Okay. Now, as we go down to the 4, let's see. 4-hour fib coming down. And this is where we're at. We came back into that out. Right, came back into the 618 retracement level. Right, we already got a deep 618 retracement. Didn't get to that 786. Right, so now we want to see. Right, do we push deeper, get to that level, or push higher, or do we start to stall and give us a little bit of reversal? Okay, so that's the 4-hour fib there, 618 retracement level. Okay, and we'll see what happens with the CAD if it's able to pick up a little bit of steam. Okay. The other thing is if that Ukraine scenario continues to escalate, we could also see impacts on oil again, right? We know that the Europe's embargo goes into effect next month, which will be a demand decrease. Okay. But we also know that the United States is still using Russian oil through Italy. So there's still some demand there, but there will be a hit to demand. So that could also impact the Canadian dollar as well. So it could be some adverse effects to that when it comes to the Canadian dollar and oil. Okay. So just keep that in mind as well. But we'll see if we get a retracement here, come back and retest that daily level. Okay. But we're back in a 618 retracement, back into the sweet spot off our 4 hour. We come down to our 1. Let's see. Take these out. Down to the 1. I just want to double check here just to make sure these did not get taken out to the upside. And it did, right? So we'll take those out. Make sure this is to the outermost point, and we'll run our fib to the upside. And there's our push there, right? So shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone on the 1 hour, right? So this is hovering in this area, right? If we get our rules met, if our rules are met, right, that trade opportunity could be there as well. Okay, 80-20 scenario on the 1 on the NZD CAD. Okay, so if it meets your rules, pull the trigger, and allow the trade to do what it does. Right outside the D, you got I'd put it outside that weekly level, 83 pips to 128 is a 382. Right, so you got a nice risk to reward, almost a 2-to-1 there. Okay, not quite, but almost. So that's another opportunity for us on the 1 hour time frame. So keep this one on your radar. Watch it if it meets your rules. Could you get a double top? Sure, you could. That's definitely always a possibility. Not sure what the market will do, right? So that's why we want to wait for the news to give us that movement to see what happens there. But it's a potential, absolutely, it's a potential. Yeah, so that's where we sit, right? So if we get a break of our trend line, bang, now that's our opportunity to get short. Okay. If we put the cloud on this, let's see. Yep, just pushing sideways. Be more of a longer term break here. But if you use the cloud as your confirmation, right, that's your look there. Okay. Any other questions here on the NZD CAD? No? You're welcome. All right, cool deal. Let's take a look at the Aussie CAD. Aussie CAD weekly time frame, right? We're retesting this previous weekly resistance level here, right? We pushed above, but haven't, we'll see how the week closes, right? But we're getting a reaction at that level. Here on the daily, right? We see we weren't able to close above it yesterday, came right back below. And so we're hovering here. Okay, we're hovering here. So indecision right now, got the news coming at 8:30. That'll give us an insight on where this one goes. Down to the 4, we pushed into that 618 level that we're looking for, and now we're just hovering sideways. Okay, but that's the level that we wanted to get to in this weekly resistance. It got us there, right? On the 4 hour, we did close above it, but now we're getting this consolidation. Okay, so we want to keep our eyes peeled to see if we are able to get price to turn over, right? If you trade off the 4, if this meets your rules, pull the trigger. Okay, but that's where we sit. That's where we sit, deep retracement level. On our 1, surprise, surprise, right? Another 80-20 scenario. Okay, Another 80-20 scenario, shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone, and we're getting this consolidation now. Okay, we're getting this consolidation now. So allow the market to do what it does. If we're able to get a trend line, a strong bearish trend line break and a strong break below this weekly level, right? Look, when I say a strong bearish candle, right? We want something like this, right? We want something like that coming down, right? If we get something like that, that's our opportunity, right? That's a signal for us. We broke the trend line at a strong break below that weekly level, and we broke this little support here, right? This lower time frame 1 hour support here, right? If we get something like that, that's our insight, our indication. Hey, this could be reversing, right? Entry opportunity to then take that to the downside. Okay. So that's where we are on the 1 hour time frame. We drop down to the 15 and we're just hovering sideways. I'm sorry, drop down to the 5. We're just hovering sideways here. Nothing really doing there, right? So our primary look here is on the 4 hour with your deep retracement and on your 1 hour with the 80-20. Okay. So keep this one on your radar as well as an opportunity, right? To the downside. Okay. Any questions here on the Aussie CAD? Nope. Cool deal. We'll keep rocking. We'll keep rocking. CAD Swiss. Weekly, right? We came into these key levels here. We got a reaction, strong push down. Now we got some indecision, right? Tried to push back up, came back down, and we're hovering around these monthly and weekly support levels. We'll come back to the daily, right? See that a little bit more closely, right? You see the indecision here. Okay. You see the indecision here. So we could be in for, because this was a nice strong move to the downside, right? We know that price likes to take back at least a portion of these very, very impulsive moves, right? So we could be in for a retracement. At least something like that coming back to this was some daily support here, broke down. We could come back and retest this to then potentially get short again, right? So we want to look for a potential reversal opportunity here. On the CAD Swiss, we get down to the 4, right? Our bias is down. We got a deep 618 retracement, just like on the daily, right? But again, those impulsive moves that started breaking levels, we could come back and retest this. Okay. Could come back and retest that. So we get back down to the 1 overall on the 1 hour. That move is down as well, right? But we could be in for lower time frame retracement. Okay. On the 5, it's super choppy, right? Doesn't give us much. So we'll see what happens in this area, right? We could get a push. If we get this push to the upside like so, that'll take out that A and that'll give us new fibs to the upside. If that occurs, give us a deeper retracement there. Okay. So on this one, just sit and be patient, right? If you're in it short, manage your trade accordingly. And look for a high price to then be able to add to your trade potentially, right? But I would like for price to come back up and retest this daily level personally. Okay. Don't know if it'll happen. What I want doesn't matter at all in the market, but that's what I'm looking for is a retracement to add to my current short trade. If it doesn't, matching the extension is here at 69543. Okay. 69543. So that's the CAD Swiss. Questions here? All right, cool deal. Nope, don't want to go there yet. Go to the CAD yen first. So this one I'm watching closely. Okay. I'm not in any of these yen crosses. However, We got a while to go here, but if this month closes bearish, we'll have an official swing high here. Okay. We've stayed below this monthly level, right? So if this month closes bearish, we'll have an official swing high, right? We'll have a new AB boundary on the monthly time frame that looks like this, right? So I want to see what happens here. Do we push higher, or do we continue to break down on this CAD yen? Now, keeping in mind, we could see some potential safe haven activity if things escalate in the Ukraine. On the weekly time frame, shallow retracement, consolidation in this 118, 127 zone, right? 80-20 scenario. Okay. We're sitting at a support right now, right? You got support sitting right here. Actually, we could drop that in, right? Weekly support level there. Okay. So this is the range right now. Top of the range, bottom of the range. We're sitting at the bottom of that range. Okay. I want to see if we push back to the top or come back to then move down. Okay. We could see a pullback here as well, potentially, right? But it's been pretty choppy overall. But I'm watching this one. If I get a nice break of this weekly support level, then I'll look for some short opportunities on this, right? We come down to the daily, and this is that range that we're looking at, right? I got that daily support level there. I'm going to take it out and leave it at the weekly support level. Okay. Weekly support level, and we're just hovering. Okay. What we could also see is a double bottom scenario, right? If we get a swing low to form here, right, we could see price rise back to the upside. Okay. So this level is going to be key for us. It's going to be really, really key for us. If we break down, that's our signal to get short. We stay above, right? We'll look for price to move back to the top of that range. Okay. 579 pips back to the top. Okay. So it could be a range play if anybody trades those ranges. Okay. So that's an opportunity there. We drop to the 4 and we see more of that consolidation. The fib here wouldn't be much help for us because we're just looking at the range. Okay. We're just looking at this range. So we're at the bottom. We'll see if we move back to the top. Okay. Now on your 1 hour, you get a little bit of clarity. Okay. Running the fibs off the high. Okay. You got a new AB boundary, shallow retracement, and we're just hovering in this B boundary zone. Okay. I would have loved to see price push down to this 118 and 127 zone. We haven't gotten that, right? And we may not. We might just see price rise here. Okay. So keep your eyes on this one. If it meets your rules on this 1 hour time frame, it's an opportunity for you to get long. Okay. After consolidation, that's where your trend line would go. Okay. Like so. Take that out. So that's what we're looking at on the 1 hour time frame. Right? B boundary play potentially on a reversal inside of that range. Any questions on this CAD yen? No? All right.
Just curious why initially you said you weren't in any of the yen crosses. Was it because of news or something?
No, because the yen has been it's been a lot of back and forth, right? Overall, you see, if we go through the yens, you'll see this strong movement to the upside, right? A lot of the crosses have been running against the yen, and more recently, it's just been extremely choppy, right? It's just been a bunch of back and forth movement, right? And you see here, as you get down to your lower time frames, you got this range action here. So you don't know if the Bank of Japan is going to intervene, or you don't know if the currency is going to run against it, right? So there's this bounce back and forth, and there's no true trend when you get down to your lower time frames. So I've just been watching them to see if we get a breakout in one direction or the other, right? Instead of sitting and playing in, you know, the 1 hour time frame. So I all of the madness here, right? This isn't pretty, you know what I mean?
Right.
So there's easier pairs to trade than the unit crosses, in my opinion, at the moment.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Miss Carolyn, I couldn't tell you. I don't trade in specific sessions. I trade based on if the pair meets my rules or not. So I don't know if there is a good quote unquote time to trade the UJ. It moves like the others. You have Asian session where there's low liquidity across the board. You have your European session and your New York session that the liquidity is higher and you get more volatility. But I don't trade specific sessions. That's not something that we teach or we even really discuss, because the market is going to move when it moves. But we believe the focus should be, does the pair meet your rules or not, right? If you add in sessions into it, if it meets your rules in this session, you'll trade it, you can add that in. But that's not something that I trade or I even research. Because my thing is, does it meet my rules or does it not? And my rules don't include any timing mechanisms. Timing mechanisms are really difficult because that will change based on the season, that'll change based on the month. So it's, when you're looking at trying to simplify as much as possible a process, trying to time the market doesn't help you to simplify the process, in my opinion. It adds more complexity and more variability to what you're doing. So that's my opinion when it comes to timing the market in timing of sessions. Michael, yes. Here on the 5-minute time frame, right? If you run the fib off of the bottom of that zone, right, you do have an 80-20 scenario here. Thank you for calling that out. Shallow retracement at 118 to 127. It's trying to inch its way down, right? So we'll see if we get a pullback at any point and get to that 382. Okay, but good eye there. Good eye. Good work. Any other questions here on the CAD yen? No. All right. Euro CAD. So yesterday, right, we talked about this 80-20 scenario on the 5-minute time frame, right? They played out. They had a shallow retracement at 118, 127 zone. We got our trend line break and price fell. 618 retracement, and then we got a reversal. Okay, so now it's headed back up. It's retesting this weekly level right now. Take those trend lines out. All right. So now we want to see, do we get a continuation to the downside, or does price continue moving to the upside, get into the matching extension on the 5? Okay. So we bounce back out and take a look at this, see where we are. All right. We know we're tracking to this weekly resistance level. Okay. I'm sorry, not weekly resistance, but weekly 382. Okay. So we're sitting at a weekly resistance right now. We want to see, do we get a pullback, continuation, or do we break above and continue making our way higher? Okay. So as we continue to drop down to the 4, matching D extension is here, right? Just inside that level, right? We already got a 618 retracement and kind of a double bottom scenario here, right? And then we got the push. So we could be headed here. We could be in for a break of this level. We shall see. Okay. We shall see. Don't know yet. We get to the 1, right? This is where we get interested. Okay. We got an 80-20 scenario, right? Started with that move yesterday, and now we're getting this pullback. The 80-20 off that 5-minute time frame, that's this move here, right? Now we're getting a pullback. So if we stay below this weekly level, we could be in for a deeper retracement, right? At least getting back to that 382, potentially 50, 61.8 level, right? And then getting back long on the euro, okay? So if that data comes in high, right, we could see this. We could see that, right? So keep your eyes on this one. Watch it closely and see what type of reaction we get after the news, and that'll give us some insight on how we want to trade this pair. Okay. So that's on year one. Yeah. So we got to break. We got to pull back. Do we stay below? Right? Do we stay below? That's the question. With the news, do we stay below, or does it come in lower than expectation and that thing rise to the matching D extension? Okay, because we know our overall bias is long, right? So if we're looking to get long, we want a low price to then be able to get long, all right? A low price to buy. If we don't get it, that's cool too. Okay. No questions on the Euro CAD? Just want to take a look at something. 60 pips. Okay. Cool deal. No questions. All right. And the pound CAD. So this one has been interesting, right? We're hovering at this weekly resistance level. We got some indecision happening, right? Got some indecision happening. We got a reaction. We come down to the daily time frame and we're hovering in this 80-20 zone, right? Shallow retracement. We pushed into that 118, 127 zone, and now we got some indecision. Okay. Now we got some indecision. So do we get this reversal? Right? Do we get this reversal? We got to wait to see, right? See if the news gives us the catalyst. See if the news gives us the catalyst to reverse this and push it back down. Because right now, right, we're playing in a range, right? Top of the range, bottom of the range, back to the top of the range. So even if we don't get to the 382, right, we may have a range play on a lower time frame, right, to play this back to the bottom of the range, 636 pips, right? And then if it breaks through these levels and gets there, 800 pip opportunity there. Okay, so on your daily time frame, 80-20 scenario potential there. Okay, come down to the 4, right? And we already touched that 382, but we know we're holding up at this weekly resistance level. Okay, and we haven't been able to close above or stay above. Closed above there, came right back down. Right. So we want to watch this closer to see, again, do we stay in this range and push back down to the bottom? Okay. 4 hour, we got to swing high, so that'd be a form of resistance here on the 4 hour time frame. If you mark that out, right? So that could be a little helpful as price moves, right? And here we have a look at this range a little bit more closely. Same look as on the 4 from a fib perspective, right? But we're just hovering, right? So if you get your rules met, might be an opportunity to get short. There's a higher time frame bias. We got an 80-20 scenario, right? So something like that. Okay. So that is our pound CAD. Daily 80-20. Got consolidation. If we stay below this weekly level, that could be confirmation for us to get short. Okay. Questions on the pound CAD?
Nope.
Cool deal. Benny, good morning, bro.
Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, everybody. How are you, Ryan?
Doing well, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Trying to stay warm. Hold on. Let me turn my heat down in the car.
Cold one out there.
Man, it is officially here. We got away with it long enough.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll be out there in a few.
Yeah, so we got a little snow on the ground. So, other than that, it's pretty cool. So November in Michigan.
November in Michigan.
Yeah, so busy day, right? Fundamentally, huh?
Yeah. We got a little bit happening.
Yeah, no, got to land low, seeing what's going to happen with the aftermath. Because we got I see the UK number came through high, and then we've got I mean, it's this stock market rally, man. I'm not convinced that it's going to last long, but we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't think it lasts long either. Do I think could last a little while longer? Potentially.
Yeah.
Depending on how those retail sales numbers come out. Which could just be a pullback for then another push down, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. It just concerns when I start to see the layoffs and everything starting to happen. So for some of these companies.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. The other thing too I mentioned to the team is you got there was a missile that landed in Poland and killed 2 people.
Yeah, I heard.
So everybody except for the United States is trying to blame it on the Ukraine. On Russia. United States said it's likely not Russia, but they're investigating during these G20 meetings. So they're trying to figure it out, but it could be interesting. If they find it is Russia, then we could see some escalation happen.
Yeah, what a mess.
It is.
What a mess.
It is. They're also working to put together a statement condemning the war, trying to force Russia to stop. The G20 is. So that's one of the things that's primary on their agenda for today. So we'll see how that comes out. But yeah. So it's interesting over there, man. It's interesting.
we shall see. It's a lot going on that's affecting the charts, man. A lot going on at the same time. So
yeah, for sure.
Cool
Carolyn, why does it always seem like the U.S. wants to play nice? I wouldn't say that they want to play nice. It's politics is an interesting game, right? It's all about, in my opinion, a lot of it is about controlling the narrative, right? What narrative can you control? Doesn't actually matter what necessarily happens on the back end. But can you control the narrative so that people listen to you more, right? United States being the kind of the world power, right, from a financial perspective, and China's right on our heels from an innovation and growth perspective. But right now we have the voice, right, and it's how we choose to go about situations. Do we choose to be more aggressive, or do we not? And a war with Russia and Ukraine that then spreads to NATO countries ultimately could highly likely turn into a World War III, right, if it escalates, because then you have China supporting Russia, right? And you have this major scenario that honestly nobody wants, right? Nobody wants it. So it's in it's in the best interest of the world right now is if we really try to make sure we choose our words wisely from a political perspective. That's what I'll choose to say. So it's interesting. Politics is an interesting game, and being in this Forex market, you're able to see it from a different perspective. And you research it more, and you become more aware of things that you weren't necessarily aware of, and looking at the verbiage that's used and when that verbiage is used. It gets really, really deep. It gets really, really deep. But at the end of the day, the the primary role of the government is to keep things moving, right? Is to keep things moving, to govern, right? So If they do things to stop action function, then they're not serving their primary purpose. So yeah. So cool deal. Any questions on anything that we covered this morning? No, Benny, we went over basically all the CAD crosses. We got some 80/20s on a few. We looked at the UJ as well, still hovering in that zone. NZD CAD got a nice 80/20 setup. A lot of 80/20s on the 1 hour time frame, sitting in those zones. So that's what we covered. You got anything for the squad before we wrap it up?
No, just as always, like we always say, be patient. It's Wednesday. Like last week, we had a lot of setups come through. But again, like we always say, you need a catalyst, and when you've got a lot of fundamental reports coming out, a lot of times that serves to be the catalyst to get the market moving. That'll move pairs into the positions that we need them to move in. So it's always that give and take, and you just have to be patient and wait for the setups to occur. But we should see some price action today. It's going to be quite interesting. I am interested in that retail sales number for the U.S. as it is a lagger, right? It's going to be from previous months. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going on with the retail sales. The market should react. So I'm interested to see what happens to the dollar as it's sitting at some of those key levels on some of the dollar crosses. I'm interested to see what happens on that. So I'll be watching that closely.
Yes, sir. I will too. All right, good people. We appreciate you guys. Have an awesome Wednesday. And we'll see you tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with my partner, my brother, Mr. Benny Allen. Talk about how the market responded to this news from the day. All right. Have an awesome day, everybody. We'll see you later. Peace.
Thank you.